Do you know that some of the most rewarding crops that can be grown in your garden require your effort only once? Yes, they don't need replanting every season. No starting from scratch each spring. All you need is one good planting, and then year after year they come back. These crops can outlive you and feed your grandchildren after you are long gone. These are perennial crops. In this video, we will walk through the 8 perennial crops that you plant once and harvest forever. Many of them are great for filling the hungry gap, the period in late winter when your stored supplies run low, and no crops have begun to grow yet. So stick around till the end because crop number 2 is going to genuinely surprise you. So without further ado, let's begin with crop number 8, asparagus. While growing asparagus might need a little patience, it pays off in the long run as it can provide over 20 years of tasty spears every spring. You plant asparagus crowns in early spring in a trench about 8 inches deep with rich, composted soil. For the first 2 years, you do almost nothing except water, weed, and resist the urge to harvest. Those first 2 years are about building the root system, a deep, sprawling network called a crown that can live underground for 20 to 30 years. Then, in year 3, the spears start pushing up. Thick, tender, brilliant green shoots emerge straight from the ground every spring. And from that point on, the asparagus bed delivers. Every single year. A mature asparagus bed can produce for decades with almost zero replanting. The only maintenance it really needs is a good cutback in autumn and a layer of mulch or compost. One bed. Decades of harvest. This is what perennial growing is all about. Next on our list is the toughest perennial food crop. Number 7. Rhubarb. Rhubarb is one of the most misunderstood plants in the garden. Most people think of it only as that tart red stalk that goes into pies. But what they are missing is that rhubarb is one of the most reliable perennial food crops you can grow. Plant the crowns in a sunny spot with well-drained soil, and rhubarb will come back every single spring without fail. It is cold-hardy, low-maintenance, and the more established the plant, the more it produces. One thing to remember, only ever harvest the stalks. The leaves of the rhubarb plant are toxic, containing high concentrations of oxalic acid. Never eat them. Never feed them to animals. But the stalks, perfectly safe, deeply flavorful, and completely renewable every year. After 3 to 5 years, you can even divide the crown to create new plants, multiplying your harvest for free. Coming up next is an aggressive perennial crop. Confused? Move on to find out what we mean. Number 6. Horseradish. Horseradish is definitely a set-it-and-forget-it kind of vegetable. Plant a root cutting of horseradish once, and it will come back every year, spreading wider and deeper until it becomes a permanent fixture of your garden. This is both its greatest strength and the one thing you need to plan for. Give it a contained bed or a dedicated corner where its spreading nature is not a problem. The root is harvested in autumn after the first frost, which is when the flavor deepens and the heat intensifies. And because horseradish grows from root fragments, even leaving a small piece in the ground is enough to bring the whole plant back next year. A jar of freshly grated horseradish made from your own garden is a completely different product from anything you will buy in a store. Sharper, brighter, and intensely fresh. Number 5. Globe artichokes. Globe artichokes are one of those plants that make a garden look extraordinary while also being genuinely productive. They grow large, architectural, and silvery green, with dramatic flower buds that, if you let them bloom, open into spectacular purple thistles. But harvest the buds before they bloom, and you have one of the most prized vegetables in Mediterranean cuisine. Artichokes are perennials in mild to warm climates. In colder regions, they can be grown as short-lived perennials with a little winter protection. Each plant can produce for 5 to 8 years, and mature plants can yield dozens of artichoke buds in a single season. They prefer full sun, well-drained soil, and generous watering. In return, they feed you reliably and give your garden an unmistakable presence. Number 4. Chives. Chives are the quiet overachievers of the perennial garden. They ask for almost nothing. They survive drought, cold, neglect, and division. And they produce continuously from early spring all the way through late autumn. Both the hollow green leaves and the beautiful purple flowers are edible. The flavor is mild onion, perfect in eggs, salads, potatoes, dips, and garnishes of every kind. The more you cut chives, the more they grow. Cutting actually stimulates fresh growth, so regular harvesting is what keeps the plant productive. Every few years, You can divide the clumps to spread them to new areas of the garden, giving you more plants for free. Chives are also excellent companion plants. They repel certain pests and attract pollinators when in flower, making them useful far beyond just the kitchen. Number 3. Sorrel. Sorrel is one of the most underrated plants in the entire perennial food world. It is a leafy green that tastes like lemon, sharp, bright, acidic, and entirely unlike anything else you can grow. It is one of the first plants to emerge in spring, often when the ground is barely thawed, and it continues producing leaves through the heat of summer. Cut it back, and it regrows. Let it rest in winter, and it returns in spring without any help from you. Common sorrel and French sorrel are both excellent choices. French sorrel has a slightly milder flavor and is more heat tolerant. Either way, you are getting a perennial leafy green that costs you one planting and pays you back for a decade. Use sorrel in soups, sauces, salads, or wilted over fish. It is particularly famous in French cuisine, where sorrel sauce alongside salmon is a classic preparation. Now moving on to number 2, which is one of the most fascinating perennial crops you will ever put in your garden. Number 2, walking onion. Also called the Egyptian walking onion or tree onion, it is a perennial allium with a remarkable habit. Instead of flowering, it produces clusters of small bulblets at the tops of its stalks. These bulblets become heavy, bend the stalk down to the ground, and plant themselves. The plant literally walks across your garden, moving a little further each year. They are a bit spicier than the normal onions we eat. However, every part of the walking onion is edible. The green tops can be used like scallions. The underground bulbs can be used like small onions. The top bulblets can be replanted or eaten. Once established, a walking onion patch is entirely self-sustaining. It multiplies on its own, returns every year, and requires almost no maintenance. It is one of the most productive and self-sufficient food plants you can grow. Number 1. Lovage. Lovage is a tall, vigorous perennial that can reach 6 feet or more in height, with large, glossy leaves that smell and taste like celery, only more intense. Every part of the plant is usable. The leaves can be added to soups, stews, salads, and stocks. The hollow stems can be used as straws for Bloody Marys, as they genuinely taste of celery. The seeds are used as a spice in breads and pickling. Plant lovage once in a sunny, well-drained spot, and it will come back year after year, getting larger and more productive as it matures. It is a background plant in the garden, both in its height and its quiet reliability. It never demands attention. It simply grows, produces, and returns. Here is the thing about perennial crops that most people only realize after they start growing them. They change the way you think about gardening entirely. Annual gardening is a cycle of effort. You prepare, you plant, you tend, you harvest, and then you start over. That cycle has value, but perennial growing is different. It is about investment. The work you put in now builds something that gives back for years, for decades, sometimes for a lifetime. These 8 crops represent some of the best that perennial gardening has to offer. Whether you have a large plot or a small raised bed, starting even one of them this season means that next year and the year after, and the year after that, your garden is already ahead. Plant once, harvest forever.